TikToks that feel illegal to watch. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Are there a lot of polygamists out here?
Yeah.
Are you a polygamist?
Yeah.
How many wives do you have?
5.
What's your favorite thing to do with your wives?
Do
Do
things.
thing.
Is the sex nice with 5 wives?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite wife you like to have with?
Yeah.
Do you still follow Warren Jeffs?
No, not anymore.
How many people inside this town are in plural marriages?
I don't know.
And are you in one?
No.
No. Would you ever want to be in a plural marriage?
Yeah.
Really? And what would make you want to be in a plural marriage?
I have my reasons, but I really gotta go, so.
Like, what attracts you to want to have multiple
have
sister
lots.
wives?
I've gotta go.
One reason.
Sisterhood, companionship.
How
Oh,
many
okay.
sister wives do you have?
I'm not gonna answer that.
No. Are you guys FLDS? How many moms do you guys have? 2. What's it like living in a polygamous household?
Very nice.
And how many moms do you have?
I have 3.
How many wives would you like to have?
As many as God will give me.
Oh. Hey, I just want to know what that is on his face. You know, the first guy.
These are dogs I would walk you, because a lot of y'all have gotten way too confident. I wish you would try to tell a Cane Corso to sit. He looks at you like this. What's your next move? I hope it's not a rolled up newspaper. He about to put you on the next one. They're an Italian Mastiff, as in they're mad stiff for a dog. That is Rocky Balboa in bear form. Back in the day, Roman troops had Corsos on the front line with buckets of flaming oil addressed to the opposition. They were also used to hunt large game like boars and bears. So tell me again how you'd whoop them. Now this is a furry Grim Reaper. The Kangol was also used in fades with bears, and they'd fend off wolves and jackals as a warm-up. So best believe
Ooh,
he'd take you from
look at
dog to
those
dog
teeth.
backwards. Since they're used to defending the defenseless, they're ironically really good with children. But if you sneak into a house and get greeted by canine cyanide, you might as well mentally resign from life. They have so much aura, it actually helps the predators around them. Basically, they put the fear of God in cheetahs so much that farmers protecting livestock don't have to send them there. The Caucasian Shepherd, or the Ovcharka, or at least that's what I think this is, but you won't catch me getting close enough to ID it. Forged in the mountains of Caucasus, they're a canine insurance policy in the area code of wolves. They were also used as war dogs, but Blifford's biggest flex is that they also assist the wolf population from not even effing around in the neighborhood of finding out. Let me know if you want a part 2, because I ain't even talk about this guy.
Cane Corso is what I imagine a hellhound would look like.
What you have to do is touch the tree, and instantaneously the grounding energy goes into all of your cells. 50 trillion cells in your body get the beneficial effect, the negative ions. And it's instantaneous. It doesn't take time. As long as you make contact with your body, physical body, with the ground, but the hand is as good as a foot. We can't do that most of the time because we're insulated by our shoes. All our shoes have rubber to insulate us from getting the good energy. So why don't you use your physical hand and touch a tree? It accomplishes the same thing.
Last time I done this, a spider came over to me.
I'm saying we were technologically more advanced. Would you
So you're
disagree
saying
with
we're
that?
superior to Australian Aboriginals?
That's quite the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm not saying we were superior. I'm saying we were technologically more advanced.
So how is that the opposite?
Superior
Wow.
implies a moral quality. I'm not making any moral implication. You seem to be, but
Okay.
what I'm saying is
I think most people would hear it that way.
no, I
Again,
don't-
you're a very intelligent man. How would most people hear that?
most people would hear what I'm saying for what I'm saying, which is
Don't think they would.
you seem to get quite heated about this, which is completely unnecessary. You think it's necessary?
I'm a bit stunned by what you're implying.
No, you're acting in a kind of passive-aggressive way, which indicates that you're not
I
happy about...
genuinely am being 100% authentic. My visceral reaction
Yeah.
to a white man sitting and saying to me, and why were we able to commit genocide on them? And then just pausing
Yes.
is very visceral
Well,
to me.
let's go back. First of all, it's interesting that you brought up my skin color because I thought that was the exact opposite of the point you're trying to make in the book.
The police ask you to follow this pin with your eyes. what do? Nothing good comes from you taking this test. You're thinking, that's an easy test for me to pass. You're never going to pass that test because he's looking for something that your eye will do without your knowledge. It's an involuntary movement of the eye. So you're not going to pass that test because he's looking for what's called horizontal gaze nystagmus. Now, the good news is there are over 30 kinds of nystagmus. Not all of them have anything to do with being impaired. So even if you took this test, a good lawyer can still beat that in court because the officer can't tell what kind of nystagmus it is.
You pass if you're sober.
If you ate 2 eggs every day for 30 days, this is what would happen to your body. Week 1 kicks off with a protein punch. Your muscles start recovering faster and that morning hunger completely demolished. You won't believe what happens next. Metabolism goes into overdrive. Those healthy fats and protein trigger thermogenesis. Basically, you're burning more calories just existing. Here's where it gets interesting. Your brain function upgrades. Choline in eggs supports cognitive performance, improving memory and mental clarity like a natural nootropic. By the 3rd week, your muscle repair accelerates. Those pure protein molecules are rebuilding tissue faster than ever. Athletes call this their secret weapon. By the 4th week, your hormones balance. Vitamin D, B12, and selenium work in harmony, supporting everything from testosterone to thyroid function. By day 30, you're not just eating eggs, you're engineering a better body. If you're going to start this challenge, comment, "Challenge accepted." Let's see how many of you are there.
Oh my God, the farts would be out of control.
7 strange signs your body needs magnesium. Number 1, twitching muscles, random eye twitches or leg cramps. That's your body saying, hey, I need magnesium. It helps your muscles chill out, and without it, they act up. 2, you keep getting headaches. Migraines or tension headaches on repeat. Magnesium helps relax your blood vessels and calm your nerves. Low levels equals more headaches. Number 3, your heart feels weird. Ever feel like your heart is skipping beats or racing for no reason? Magnesium keeps your heartbeat steady. If it's low, things can get out of sync. 4, constant fatigue. Feeling tired no matter how much you sleep? Magnesium plays a key role in energy production. When levels are low, your body struggles to keep up, leaving you drained. Number 5, you can't sleep tossing and turning all night? Magnesium helps your brain relax. Without it, your mind stays on overdrive, making sleep impossible. 6, craving chocolate. Randomly craving chocolate? Dark chocolate is high in magnesium, so your body might be hinting at what it needs. Listen to those cravings. Number 7, numbness or tingling. Feeling pins and needles in your hands or feet. Magnesium supports nerve function, and low levels can lead to weird sensations like numbness or tingling. If you want to learn more about magnesium, comment the signs you noticed in your body.
You know, I take magnesium glycinate. It helps me sleep and relax.
This is the only real evidence of human immortality, and it's absolutely terrifying. Since the 1800s, 90 photos of these 3 women have surfaced at different points in history, and they never age. Journalists, historians, and even facial recognition experts have tried to explain it, but the deeper they dig, the more disturbing it becomes. The first evidence came from a photo taken in 1890, showing a woman named Eleanor Gray at a protest in London. The problem? In 1922, she appears again identical in a New York newspaper. And in 1987, a tourist in Paris publishes a photo, and there she is. No wrinkles, no changes, as if time simply doesn't exist for her. But Eleanor isn't the only one. 2 other women appear in similar records. Amara Lopez, first seen in Spain in 1904, and later in 1956 in Mexico without aging a single day. Yuki Nakamura, photographed in Japan in 1877 and identified again at a protest in South Korea in 1991.
No way.
Researchers tried to trace their origin, but their stories always end in a dead end. No birth certificates, no death records. But the most chilling detail came later. A leaked secret document revealed by a former British intelligence agent mentions these women. The file refers to them as the Veil Keepers and suggests they have a mission to prevent humanity from discovering something that could change everything we know about life and death. Comment Eleanor for part 2.
The Age of Adeline. Have you seen it?
Some tattoos that could get you in serious trouble. The first one being the 1488 tattoo. I really can't go too deep on this one on social media, but here's the short version. Now, the number 14 comes from a specific quote about practicing white futures. And the number 8 means HH. And you could probably guess what that means. You could do more research about this tattoo, but it's crazy, and it's not one that you want to have permanently on your body. Up next, we have the EWNN tattoo. Now, these letters stand for evil, wicked, mean, and nasty. Worn by someone who perceives himself as tough or even dangerous. It's usually found tattooed on the knuckles, and it's supposed to represent that that person is very hostile, and you should probably stay away from them because they use it as a form of intimidation. Up next, we have the beetle tattoo, which seems like an innocent tattoo. Inside of prison, it's supposed to represent that that person, the wearer, is good and not getting caught. Whether it's them doing something sneakily inside a prison or outside. It's worn like a badge of honor, and it's almost like them bragging about their skills. Moving on, we got the spider tattoo. Now, inside a prison, a tattoo of a spider on the right shoulder means that the person is a thief. If the spider is crawling up the shoulder, it means that the person is still currently stealing. If the spider's crawling down the shoulder, it means that they stopped and left that part of their life behind them.
I'd say the swastika is the worst.
Students, just this one move, do it for 30 seconds every morning and evening in 7 days. Your waistline will shrink.
That's how I walk after my mom scolded me.
She was the only woman ever held in Alcatraz, and what she did was pure evil. In the late 1800s, there was a strange little plant shop in Tampa, Florida. Locals called the owner the Plant Lady, real name Summer Camp. To most, she was just a quiet woman who loved greenery. But inside that shop, something monstrous was growing. The centerpiece, a Venus flytrap over 30 feet tall. When people asked how it got so big, she'd grin and whisper, "Lots of protein." In 1895, a man named Wally Mart booked a private night tour. He never made it out the same. He blacked out and woke up inside the mouth of that massive breathing plant. He barely escaped, ran into the streets screaming. Police raided the shop that very night, and what they uncovered was worse than anyone imagined. Summer didn't just own a plant shop, she ran a trap. For over 6 years, she lured people in, tourists, drifters, even curious locals, charming them with rare flowers and private midnight garden tours. She'd slip something in their tea, and once they lost consciousness, the plant did the rest. In the basement, police found a collection of souvenirs, watches, necklaces, even shoes, neatly labeled by date, 25 victims, each fed to the plant. She confessed everything. Calmly, almost proudly. The townspeople were horrified. They burned her shop to the ground, with the monstrous flytrap still inside. Summer was sentenced to life in Alcatraz, the only female prisoner ever held there. But just months later, during a violent storm, she vanished. She had built a glider out of linen and bones, climbed the roof, and disappeared into the night. Her body was never found, and to this day, no one knows where the Plant Lady went, or what might still be hungry out there.
This sounds like the movie Little Shop of Horrors.
It blows my mind that more people don't realize that today was one of the most groundbreaking days for space in history. Scientists have just said that they are 99.7% sure that there is life on this planet that's only 124 light years away. What's even crazier is how they figured this out. Scientists were able to use the James Webb Space Telescope to analyze the light coming off of K2-18b's atmosphere, and it was missing one important part of the light. This unique part of the light that's missing indicates to scientists with 99.7% confidence that there is a gas on the planet called DMS that on Earth only exists as a result of life and is produced in massive amounts by phytoplankton in the ocean. And this planet is basically an ocean planet, which makes me wonder what other life is lurking in the oceans of K2-18b.
All right, 50% tariff to K2-18b. Oh, man. Oh. I hope you're okay, little guy.
Sociopaths have no concern for human feelings. Psychopaths have no concern for human life.
Oh, there we go.
That would be the difference.
Okay.
But anytime, like, if you have a conversation and it feels good, and then afterwards you would need to return to that to feel good again, you may have been dealing with a psychopath. So if you have a great conversation with a grounded person who is humble and kind and honest, you're going to feel good after that conversation. You're going to look back on it and smile. The good feeling's going to linger for a while.
Yeah.
So that's one of the key indicators that our brain is sensing, our ancestor part of our brain is sensing something and trying to say, hey, something's not right.
Yeah.
A sociopath will watch you fall off a cliff and not help. A psychopath will push you off a cliff.
Bombshell was revealed in court today that Cassie will receive $10 million from the Intercontinental Hotel in LA. That's the same hotel where Diddy is captured on surveillance video beating and kicking Cassie after a freak-off. The settlement just happened within the past month, but it was the defense that made her expose it through their line of questioning. It's part of the defense's strategy to convince the jury that, in part, Cassie is motivated by money. It was on day 3 of the trial that we learned that she settled her lawsuit against Diddy for $30 million. And even though part of the defense's strategy is that Cassie already had money and access to wealthy men before she met Diddy, it also zeroed in on her financial situation right before she filed the lawsuit. They pointed out that 1 month before she filed the lawsuit in November of 2023, she, her husband, and their 2 kids moved in with her parents in Connecticut from LA. And then Diddy's defense attorney asks her, were they having financial issues? To which she responds, no, we wanted to move back to the East Coast. But the defense doesn't stop there. They actually go on to point out that their only income at the time was her husband's salary as a personal trainer and whatever job she was booking. They go on to say that that summer she was preparing to go on tour in New Zealand and Australia, but as soon as she settled the lawsuit with Diddy, she canceled it. But before the settlement with the Intercontinental is revealed, during redirect examination, the prosecutor asked Cassie, would you give the money back if you could just erase everything and never had to have done freak-offs or experience everything that you experienced? And this is when Cassie breaks down. She just starts sobbing. The most she's cried the entire time she's been on the stand. She's grabbing tissues and crying into her hands. They even ask her, do you want a break? But she says, no, I want to continue. And through her tears, she says, I would give the money back so I wouldn't have to work so hard to get it back. And when the prosecutor asks her to clarify what it is, she says her agency and her autonomy. But the defense attorney isn't backing down. It's her turn to ask questions again. And she starts off by saying, this has been hard for you. Your name has been in the press. You face scrutiny. And then she reveals that she settled with the Intercontinental and then asks Cassie to reveal how much for. And when Cassie says $10 million, you can hear audible gasps in the courtroom. And with that, Cassie leaves the stand. And as she's passing me to get out of the courtroom, she just goes, whew.
You know, people forget this is not Cassie versus Diddy. That lawsuit settled out of court. This is a federal case against Diddy. The feds, not Cassie.
So Yale has posted the Voynich manuscripts to the internet. Congratulations, Yale. 10 out of 10. You can't figure it out? Make everybody else do it for you. It is a very solid idea because what starts happening? People start flooding in. Shit starts happening. Things start to come out about the Voynich manuscript and what the fuck could possibly be the tea. First and foremost, there was a group of people that were like, this is calfskin parchment. We can carbon date this, and we should. So they take little scraps off of the corners and they take them to the lab and they do the lab shit. And the lab shit says that this book, the paper, actually dates back to the 15th century, which is a huge discovery because it makes Wilfred Voynich look like a motherfucking liar. It makes him look like a fucking idiot and a moron because he was over here thinking Sir Kevin Bacon or whatever the fuck his name was the one that wrote it way back in the 13th century. He was over here saying this monk, this who wasn't allowed to be a scientist, that I think this is his secret book, hello, and took it on that book tour, tried to sell it for $100,000. And now we've carbon dated the pages and we're like, where did you get that?
Let me check with ChatGPT later. By the way, I'm wearing a Samsung smartwatch. If you like it, the link is down below. Straight from Samsung store. Nobody else.
Have y'all seen that video about that girl who came on here to let everybody know about the massive HIV outbreak that's taking over Pennsylvania and Texas right now? And I'm talking about cases in the 100,000s. Yeah, I decided to do my own little research. And when I tell you that being celibate has to be the best thing that I unintentionally did for myself, because it's scary out there. It's scary out there. Like, I think that it's about time that all of us women get on PrEP. As of 2025, the cities with the highest HIV rates in the United States are New York City, Miami, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, and Washington, D.C. Now, I took it upon myself to go and screenshot the 20 cities with the highest counts of HIV and AIDS in the United States. This is recorded from 2024. What I had shown you before was where we're at as far as the cities with the highest rates of HIV in 2025. The new updated version or the updated list will be provided probably around the same time this was published. But I'm going to post them. And look behind me to see if your city is on this list. Starting at number 20, San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, California. Look at the rates. Next, we have San Juan, Carolina, Puerto Rico. I can't say the last part, but here's the rates for you. Los Angeles, Long Beach, Glendale, California. Ooh. There's your rates. Wow. Now you have Columbia, South Carolina. West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, basically Florida. There you go. Jackson, Mississippi gets number 15. Newark, New Jersey is number 14. Washington, Arlington, Alexandria, D.C. area has number 13. Memphis, Tennessee is at number 12. Baltimore, Columbia, Towson, Maryland at number 11. Baton Rouge, Louisiana for number 10. New Orleans, Louisiana at number 9. Atlanta, Sandy Springs, Alpharetta, Georgia is at number 8. New York, Jersey City, New York is at number 7. San Francisco, San Mateo, Redwood City, California is at number 6. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at number 5. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Pompeo Beach, Florida is at number 4. Look at the rates. New York, Jersey City, White Plains, New York is at number 3. Miami Beach, Kendall, Florida, number 2. And I'm going to bring you guys to number 1. At number 1 is Fort Lauderdale, Pompeo Beach, Sunrise, Florida. Look at these numbers, bro. If you're a straight woman, if you're a bi woman, if you are a poly woman, if you are a lesbian queer woman that happens to still date women who deal with other men, please start thinking about getting on PrEP. If you're sexually active, start thinking about getting on PrEP. A lot of people wanted to clown Tamar Braxton when she admitted that she takes PrEP, but we know how DL culture is set up, especially within the male gay community. It's a different type of, you understand, suppression, where they won't even get on medication like PrEP, even though it would be to help them and to keep them safe from diseases like this. They're not going to get on it for the simple fact that they associate it with being a gay drug. They won't even protect themselves, okay? And they'll still go out and do what they're doing with other men who are also not protected. And because they still want to play this whole DL part, they're going to still get with women.
What is DL?
They're still going to have sex with women, hell, create life with women, all to try to make it seem that they're straight when they're not. Whole time infecting every woman, every person, not just the women, but even the out men that they deal with. They're endangering every single person that they get into sexual contact with. Please start thinking about getting on PrEP, because it's scary out there.
What is PrEP? Oh, and people need to stop living loose life and stay with, like one partner.
Blue don't have Beyonce nothing. She's just light-skinned. I always thought it was kind of weird how she did resemble Jay-Z to a certain extent. But no, that girl is starting to look like Kathy. The eyes, the cheekbones, the jawline, the speltness of her thin figure, her shoulders. Like when she wore that dress with the Grammys, when he set Killer Mike up to be inconvenienced for winning. That white thing that she wore with those boots. The way she walked up. The way she sashayed, and it was off the shoulder, like Kathy used to wear off May God have mercy on their souls if they took that woman's up to a child. May God have mercy on their souls if they done that. And for her, and it's my bloodline. It's that bloodline. On the front.
Yep, she just looks like Kathy.
So Diddy was paying random dudes to help Cassie drink golden liquid that they provided? Nah, bruh. So if you didn't know already, the Diddy trials have started. And before I even go in detail, Cassie husband, I pray for you, bro. Because if this is just only half of the information that they've only put out, you are a strong man. Quick trigger warning. So they're claiming that Cassie and other women were not only forced to do the deed with some of these random dudes that they found on the street, but they were not allowed to have any type of protection. If you asked for protection, Diddy would get upset. One stated that she threw up from all the crazy stuff that was happening. The man Diddy said, "Can you do that again?" Crazy work. When the shawties would try to stop participating in the Diddy-offs, Diddy would lay the beats and tell them that he was going to leak the videos to the public. They're claiming that this man would sit in a chair and just watch the festives happen. Even when it's far into breaking into someone's crib and laying the beats on them so that they know he wasn't playing, that they had to attend the Diddy-offs. And it just gets worse and worse and worse, but I don't want to lose my platform by going into detail anymore. Y'all can go see the rest on X. Crazy. What do you guys think about this situation? Cassie husband, I pray for you.
Yep, prayers for Cassie and her husband.
Your text, track your phone, see where you go, who you talk to, and when. Scary stuff, right? But this? No towers, no SIM card, no Wi-Fi, no cloud. And if you set it up right, not even the feds can read what you're saying. This is called Meshtastic. Encrypted, off-grid, silent. If you're not using it yet, you're trusting the system. Big mistake. Meshtastic isn't a chat app. It's a decentralized radio network built by people for people. It runs on LoRa. That means long range, low power, no carrier. You don't pay a monthly bill. You don't need cell towers. You don't need permission. Your messages hop from device to device, encrypted, silent, and untraceable if you do it right. You can send messages miles away. Off-grid, offline, untouchable. Check this out. Beautiful.
If the feds are after you, they will get you no matter what.
This is Corian Evans. He's a high school senior from Moss Point, Mississippi. One day he's driving in his car and he sees another vehicle drive off of a boat launch, and the car started to sink into the river. So immediately what he does is he takes his shirt off, his shoes, takes his phone out of his pocket, hops into the river, and inside the vehicle were 3 teenage girls, and they're trapped inside the car. Corian found a way to get inside the vehicle, get the girls out of the vehicle, and get them to safety. Now, while this is happening, another police officer who responded to the incident jumped into the river to try to save the girls as well. Well, this cop started struggling and started to drown, and Corian noticed that, realized he had gotten the girls to safety, turns around, hops back into the water, and saves the officer.
Wow.
Totaling 4 rescued from the river, all by Mr. Evans. Man, that is incredible. And as you can see here, that's a shot of him in action. And I just think the bravery, the selflessness, just a phenomenal ending to a story that could have ended horribly. And because of the action that he took, now the 3 young ladies get to go home to their families. The officer gets to go home to his family. Shout out to Corian. My goodness, this is a dope story.
This should be national news. God bless Corian Evans.
When you're rolling in dough, all of this doesn't matter that much. When you're broke and you want to start blaming people, that's when it matters. I was on a call with multiple people just inside acknowledges that in 2022 he was on the verge of, and the words were, financial collapse. And that's why he had to sell his catalog.
He was so broke in 2022 that he had to borrow Will Bracey, who's a member of the church.
His COO.
His COO. He had to borrow Will's credit card so he could go play golf. That's how broke he was. He could not afford a round of golf.
But it's not cheap to be the biggest pop star in the world.
You're good.
He is the biggest pop star in the world. Of course he has to charter jets. Of course he has mega mansions, which, by the way, we were told he paid cash for all the houses.
And it struck us when he made that sale and they announced the sale.
Justin Bieber just sold his music catalog for an estimated measly $200 million.
It was shocking.
We were all like, why is Justin Bieber at such an early stage in his career selling off his catalog? And there were other people who were selling their catalogs, but they were all much older. And so it was like, why is he selling this?
Sold out of desperation. Justin Haley and Michael Rhodes,
his attorney,
went to Scooter and said, we got to sell this catalog. Scooter said no. And finally, when Scooter realized they were going to sell it, this was in December, Scooter said, at least wait until January because you'll get a tax break if you wait till January. And Justin said, I got to sell it now. And he sold it in December. That's how broke he was. But, you know, how on earth do you blow through $1 billion?
All he has to do is go on tour. Justin, I hope you see this.
Hey, Pop. I need a breakdown on David and Goliath and what really happened.
David and Goliath?
Yeah.
Oh, nigga, that's a classic YN story right there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that shit really went down like that. So shit, bet. So boom.
Boom.
The army was out fighting the Philistines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was supposed to be fighting them. They standing out in the field just bumping for weeks, not even getting on nothing. So David Pops is like, hey, go out there and send your brother some food real quick. You know, I know they hungry. David get out there, ain't nobody plexing. They be like, damn, what y'all niggas doing? Ain't nobody fighting. What we waiting on? Like, David, you tripping, bro. Like, you always talking shit. He's like, who is this dirty, nasty, uncircumcised Philistine out there? This dirty African sitting out in the field. They like, chill, bro. That's Goliath.
Chill, bro.
He on that. Nigga say, on that? Nigga, I'm on that. What are you talking about?
What is on that?
Man, I go out there. They like, chill, bro. You hot-headed. You always thinking you could do it. So they was like, well, on the cool, Saul said, whoever go out there and fight him, you know what I'm saying, they can get his daughter. And David was like, who, fine shit? Oh, y'all sleep. Hey, Saul. Hey, if I could, sir. Saul was like, yo, what's up, young brother? He's like, sir, I'll whoop that nigga. He was like, nah, you too. He's like, listen, let me at him. He's like, listen, I got experience. I keep my pops sheep at the crib. And I done killed the lion. I killed bears with my bare hand. Him, he ain't on nothing. Saul was like, all right, bet. Well, shit, take my strap. And it's like, man, this shit heavy. I feel you, but I don't really think I need this. I got my own switch. That boy pulled out a little FN, little strap, little slingshot. But David had the first switch. You know what I'm saying? He was a real YN. So bam, David go out there.
What is YN? Wow.
Yeah, what's good, Goliath? Goliath like, who this young ass nigga y'all got out here? Y'all boys got me fucked up. Y'all don't respect the game. Like, he was felt disrespected. They was like, yeah, I'm out here. The Lord with me. He was like, all right, what's up then? That boy popped out. That boy David hit that boy with that foot. Rocked that boy shit, but out of there. Boy took that boy's sword, cut his head off with it. Boy, David was the man. That boy went back to the hood. Everybody was calling his name. David, oh, David this, David that. Boy, David got all the haters. But just imagine that boy David had more courage than the whole army. The whole army was scared. David Youngbuck went out there because them streets was more treacherous than that battlefield. He was out there in the trenches with the wolves and the lions and the bears. He was like, man, I've been in the real trenches, man. Y'all niggas out here bullshitting. I mean, that's really the whole story.
I like that.
Dang. Is Tory Lanez curse or is Rock Nation more powerful than we think? Chris Brown posted Free Tory yesterday, and now he's under arrest for an assault in 2023. DDG made a song with Tory Lanez in December 2024 called Handling Business. Months later, DDG is now accused of assaulting Halle Bailey and breaking into her home and sending her pictures. It gets worse. About a month prior, Jay-Z sent DDG a $300,000 bottle of alcohol. He did not read anyone the note. He actually looked incredibly scared and tried to play it off. What does Jay-Z have to do with this? Halle Bailey is signed to Beyonce, and Meg Thee Stallion is signed to Jay-Z. Aiden Ross immediately said Free Tory and has some comments to say about Meg Thee Stallion calling her a liar, and he instantly loses brand deals and then receives a cease and desist letter to not mention her anymore. Then DDG's artist gets a bottle of Hennessy from Jay-Z and a threatening note after he exposed the reason DDG and Halle broke up was because of Brent Faiyaz. Only he read his letter saying to stay in your jurisdiction. Do you know who else had freed Tory Lanez and ended up with a plethora of allegations? P. Diddy. I am by no means defending any of these people. Is Jay-Z not to be messed with? Are these celebrities just drunk with power? Don't forget DaBaby got canceled too when he spoke on Megan Thee Stallion. I also want to say that before Tory spoke ill of Meg Thee Stallion, he was exposing the music industry and made a vow to tell everybody how it really operated. The same way 6ix9ine did and got removed off of Apple. The connections are interesting to say the least. And anybody who is a victim of any form of attack or undergoing any scrutiny, I hope they are now well and I hope they receive justice. Leave what you think in the comments below.
Kanye tried to tell us the truth about Rock Nation.
Who do you think has the most power in the industry right now, artist-wise?
Artist-wise, Jay-Z. Everything he can do that he doesn't necessarily do, like albums, touring to generate millions and millions of dollars, that he doesn't have to do, he's in position to control the platforms that other people do them on. Now, you have to factor in his enhancements, his wife. He benefits from that and she benefits from him. So right now, when it comes to that, I would say Jay-Z. Who's our Braveheart? Is Jay. Because you watched it. He made that first move, tore him down. Everything detached. 90% of the people like, Ye's done. We look up a year, 18 months later, he comes back, evaluated at even more than prior.
Jay-Z's influence is undeniable, but who else do you think could rival his power in the industry? Drop a comment.
And so a lot of how it works in the families is you got two main approaches. If you've got unlimited access to wealth, power, like really, I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about power. Unlimited raw power, where a phone call, the phone book, is far more powerful than the bank account because it's who you know can open doors to power anywhere else in the entire world. So you can leave with nothing, but then you can go build. And if you need the phone book, there's a price to be paid. And the price to be paid is generally one of your children. It seems bizarre to some, but a child is generally a chosen child out of the family is given over as an offering to the family. And they're the ones who's going to go through this left-hand path. They're going to experience the desecration of their soul, their identity, and they're going to become an agent for the family that is owned completely. And there's like a legal trustee that is given over to it. There's a board of directors that sits over it. Like these are real legal confines for how the wealth is distributed out there. In order to build your empire, you've got to be able to go prove yourself. And where I was born, that is a place that's a high place, Mount Humphreys. It's a volcanic peaks that sit there. The top of it is where the Hopi Indian and a lot of people had gathered forever to commune with the fallen. They believed that the sons of the sky would come down every season at the winter solstice and they would abide from the winter solstice to the summer solstice there. This was a place where they would give their daughters over to them. This is Hopi mythology, like 101. You know, they would make these Kachina dolls, which were an effigy of what I would say is a watcher angel that would come and the daughter would be given to him. And she would place that over her bed throughout her life, you know, and that's her familiar spirit. That's where I was born into. And the people that still practice that old religion, that's the way I refer to it, they still do this. And they still take their children up there to give them over to them on these high days. And so I was born into that, and I was born through that seed line and into that ritual magic world.
So the people of the world are still sacrificing their children, religious ritual?
Some people say it's hard to believe that the moon landings were faked. I say it's hard to believe that they were real. What NASA is claiming is that they went 1,000 times farther than they can go today with 50-year-older technology on the very first attempt with 1/1,000,000th of the computing power in all of NASA than is in a cell phone. If Toyota said that they made a car 50 years ago that could go 50,000 miles on a gallon of gasoline, and yet today their best car could only go 50 miles per gallon, or 1,000th the distance, wouldn't the fraud of the previous claim be obvious? And yet this is exactly the moon landing fraud. And yet people don't see it because of their emotional attachment to it. They're claiming they went 1,000 times farther 50 years ago than they can go today with 50-year-older technology. That doesn't make any sense. It's the only time in history that a technological achievement like the automobile or the airplane or nuclear power, that no nation on earth could repeat it 50 years later, when in fact it should be 100 times greater 50 years later. If they could go to the moon with 1960s technology, men would be in another solar system by now.
Yep.
Men would have walked on Mars 10 years later, 40 years ago, which never happened. And there would be bases on the moon there today, of which there are none. It's the only time in the history of the world that technology that cost $175 billion was deliberately destroyed afterwards. Would Bill Gates spend $175 billion to make the first computer, and then when he was done, throw it and the schematics in the trash? But that's what NASA claims that they did. They only did that to destroy the evidence of the fraud, which is proof itself that they didn't go, because if they really went, they would never destroy the technology. The B-52 bomber was made 70 years ago and is still in service today in the United States Air Force because it worked so well. Now they want to return to the moon, and they're having to recreate all that equipment from scratch because they deliberately destroyed it in order to hide the evidence of the fraud. I say it's harder to believe that the moon landings are real than to believe that they were fake.
And the fact Neil Armstrong said that they never went and it was all fake in interviews, and they still don't believe.
1919 in Boston. This was towards the end of World War I. They had this molasses factory, and they built this giant cauldron that held like 2 million gallons of molasses. They were in a time crunch because their first shipment of molasses from Cuba, I think, was on its way up. Didn't pass any inspections. It was in spring. There was this giant cold snap, and it quickly froze the molasses, and then it heated up again. So the gas that it produced, it exploded, and they said it was a 25-foot tidal wave of molasses that just took out the majority of this part of the city, killing 21 people.
Like 150 people got injured.
People were drowning in molasses.
Also, the molasses flowed at 35 miles an hour.
It took people out. Like, people couldn't outrun it. It just...
That's nuts.
The scariest one was there's a shop and these people ran in, but it broke through the glass.
Yeah.
Said that they're stuck in there for, I think they said like 8 hours before they got help. And one dude was just like this, and he couldn't float in molasses. You can't float in molasses.
So dense.
So he slowly drowned in molasses.
To this day, on very hot days in Boston, within that area, you can literally smell the molasses.
Yeah, they said the smell still you can still smell molasses in this part of Boston.
Oh no.
Sticky situation.
If someone has cast a curse or the evil eye on you, don't worry. In ancient Norse magic, there was a magical formula made up of 4 words to dissolve any curse, any negative energy that has been sent your way. Say these 4 magic words, or write them on a very thin piece of paper and carry them with you. Merida, Meron, Mjolnir, Ragon. Very ancient Norse magic. I hope it helps you.
I got something more stronger. Way stronger. If you say the name of Jesus, the devil will flee. Don't do this. This is evil.
The sooner you understand people, the less you'll suffer. Here are 10 essential truths about human nature you need to know. 1. Most people wear masks. Don't fall in love with the surface. 2. Loyalty is rare. Trust slowly, test often. 3. Many smile with hidden motives. Watch actions, not faces. 4. Jealousy hides behind compliments. Not every well done means well. 5. People leave when they no longer benefit. Don't take it personal. Take it as proof. 6. Some only respect boundaries when enforced. Be kind but not soft. 7. Weak minds follow the loudest voice. Think for yourself. 8. Most want to see you do good, just not better than them.
Wow.
Grow anyway. 9. Victims often become manipulators. Empathy without awareness is self-destruction. 10. No one is coming to save you. Read people well, but rely on yourself. Understanding people isn't cold. It's survival with clarity.
These are all true.
Another security tip I would bring up is if you don't want trouble, don't go to places where trouble happens. Don't hang out with people who get into trouble. Don't go to places at times where you'd expect trouble. For instance, I'll just give you an example. If you go to a bar and you're out late at night where people are drinking and getting rowdy, there might be trouble there. You don't have to be there. So everyone has some control of what environment they're in. You have control over what environment you're moving into or you're occupying, and you also have control of getting out of an environment if it's starting to look like it's unsafe.
You know what they say, right? Nothing good happens after midnight.
Over the water in this lake and tried to descend in it and bounced off. It was so super saline and dense that the submarine couldn't go down in it. We literally bounced off, and as we bounced off, we sent ripples heading back to the shoreline for it. And then I looked, and there was water lapping against the shoreline. This band was a ring of mussels. And inside the ring of mussels was a lake. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm already underwater.
They said that this man was killed in a chopper accident in Australia 4 weeks after he revealed this story.
That's the Bodhi tree.
The what?
I mean, how wonderful is that?
Alright, you worship tree or God?
As a trigger warning, right now in San Isidro, Argentina, kids were coming home with like bruises. They were just throwing random tantrums. They were showing fear of water. And there was a father. His name is Diego Hernandez. He has a wife and a 1.5-year-old. And she would go to this maternal kindergarten. It was just a preschool for kids that were 2 years or younger. And Diego and his wife noticed that their daughter began to space out a lot. Like she was struggling to finish any tasks and stuff. And they ended up giving her extra classes for her to learn, so they contacted a different program where they would have a teacher come to the house and tutor her. And then the teacher's like, whoa, what the she goes to this school? And then they were confused. They were like, yeah, like, I mean, we've always brung it there. There was no problem. She basically explains, like, I used to work at that school, but I didn't really like it because there was stuff that I didn't agree with. But the father, Diego, he decides, I want to investigate. I want to see what the fuck is going on in the school. So he ends up putting an iPod inside her backpack, leaves her recording, and then after he reviews the iPod, it's revealed that the teachers or the teacher in that daycare is verbally abusing them. You hear a bunch of kids crying and stuff like they're scared, and basically tells them like, yo, shut up, if not I'm gonna drown you guys. And you can hear kids saying, please, no, like, not the water. He had like over 4 hours of audio, but it was only 2 minutes that was revealed to the public. I'm gonna show you guys that right now, and it's scary because like this could happen to anybody's kid.
Or are you gonna tell me that that's not spot on? Come on, look at that. Okay, the moon might be a mirror, so there's a chance it really is a simulation. How come we see the same spots on the moon every single night? Same locations. All of these spots on the moon never changed. How is that possible if the moon is spinning and the earth is spinning at all times? Why do we always see the same moon? So look, the map of the earth lines up perfectly with the spots on the moon, but there's extra spots for some reason on the moon. We know there's a lot of things being hidden from us.
Yes.
The moon might be the only thing that's actually telling us the truth. Look. Look.
Ooh.
Let me know what you guys think. Is the moon a
That's
mirror?
crazy.
Now check this out. Do you know why vampires hate silver? It's crazy. It goes to the Bible, fam.
No, I don't.
So the reason vampires cannot be around silver, and that's their weakness, is because it dates all the way back to an original evil in the Bible. With Judas, when he betrayed Jesus. How did he betray him? For 30 pieces of silver. Yeah.
Damn.
So they say because Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, evil is cursed around silver. So and silver itself is supposed to be a very pure, healing sort of metal that they use, and they always think of that it's pure healing, and they pretty much call it like kind of holy. So that whole mythology of it came from that. It literally came from that. That's why vampires, vampires, werewolves, they get killed by silver. That's one of the only things, right?
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's really cool how they added all of those little details, like including the vampires can only come in if you let them.
Yes.
And I think that whole thing about that's because if you think about it, you can only let evil in. It can't just like grab a hold of you. You have to allow it in yourself.
It's true.
Expose the tunnel systems located right under the city of Chicago. We know here on this channel that we are definitely not being told the full story regarding the tunnel systems all over the world, where they start off by telling us that the very first major tunnel project was dug under Lake Michigan to a water intake 2 miles out in 1864 to 1866. This is 29 years before the invention of the power tool. Digging massive tunnel systems under the lake, where it goes on to say that Chicago kept on digging away, creating thousands of miles of underground structures, where in my opinion, this is the beginning of the narrative for these tunnels that were created by the previous civilization. Thousands of miles of underground structures right underneath the city of Chicago, all according to public records in the Chicago Public Library. So let's go deeper. I was able to locate someone that has recently been inside the tunnel systems, and they shared what they saw with me. And now I'm going to share it all with you. We have seen these photos. They are on the internet, and here it is today. We can see that the railway is still there on the floor, looking exactly like we see in these photos that we are told is from pre-1906. Over 120 years ago, I was sent other photos that I think you will all want to see. These tracks lead throughout the entire tunnel system, using them as transportation throughout the entire city. We have shown in episode 42 how these tunnel systems are in every single city in the world, how they connect all of the buildings together underground. These buildings are bigger than we can see. There is so much more under our feet than we realized before. Proof that there are buildings, structures, exactly like they say, right under our feet, underground. Thousands of miles of underground structures. What are we seeing today? I think we have unlocked something massive. I think they are very aware of what is under the ground at this point, and they were rediscovering it in the 18 and 1900s. And we are now following behind them right now. It's all out there. If you're able to read with open eyes, it clearly states that there are thousands of miles of underground structures right under the city of Chicago with maximum use of scarce real estate. Is this not exactly what we want to see? Is it not putting everything together for us? Connecting it all, showing that buildings are underground, real estate underground. Thousands of miles of underground structures right under the city of Chicago. We now know that this is here. It is no longer a question of if the previous civilization's work is underground. It's now a matter of just finding them and exposing them to everybody in the world. We now know that they are there. We have photos of inside the tunnels. We know that they lead to all of the buildings. Thousands of miles of tunnels, underground structures, underground real estate. We know that there are thousands of miles of tunnels. We were told this. Yet here in 1910, the system is only showing us 60 miles on the map. So we know that there is a lot of tunnels that are not being shown to us today. And we know that these tunnels connect to these buildings. And I'm going to show that soon.
Tunnel systems are worldwide.
The Goetian demons. The which demons? The 72 Goetian demons. They would be the princes and dukes of hell. And that would be the fallen angels. So the gates of the fallen.
First, we have King Solomon, which is my favorite.
The seal.
King Solomon was celebrated for his wisdom and his legendary rule over Israel, and he is forever intertwined with the Solomonic grimoires, which is the Greater Key of Solomon and the Lesser Key of Solomon, also known as the Goetia. These books are ancient texts that provide a detailed list of angels and demons.
Solomon is the wisest, richest man to ever live. He had a lot of wives, and he was marrying like the Queen of Sheba and these different queens because he would absorb their territories by doing it.
The Lesser Key of Solomon, also known as the Goetia or the Lemmigeddon, is a 17th century grimoire that outlines the procedures and instructions for contacting the 72 demons that King Solomon was said to have bound and constrained in his brass vessel.
All right.